Zemi's long fingers tapped the edge of her seat as the shuttle neared its destination. Her pale blue skin shimmered under the soft cabin lights. Outside the window, Earth floated in space like a green and blue marble. It looked quiet, calm. A strange place to build the most famous academy in the galaxy. Zemi had never been to Earth before. She came from Kalaris, a water planet where people lived in floating cities and studied ocean life. But now, she was one of only 3 Kalarans accepted into Earth Academy, the top interspecies school. She had earned her place through hard work and top test scores. Still, she felt nervous. I wonder if humans are really that strange, she thought, remembering the stories told on her homeworld. Some said humans were soft and weak. Others said they were clever and tricky. Many thought humans were boring. Zemi didn't believe the stories. She wanted to see for herself. The shuttle landed with a smooth hum. A voice announced, "Welcome to Earth Academy. Please collect your items and exit in order." Zemi grabbed her silver travel bag and followed the others. As she stepped out, a soft breeze brushed against her face. The air smelled fresh, like plants and warm dirt. A big glass dome covered the academy grounds, keeping the weather controlled. Trees and small flowers lined the walkways. It didn't look like a place for warriors or explorers. It looked peaceful. "Student Zemi of Kalaris," a robotic assistant said as it rolled up to her. "Please follow the blue path to registration hall." Zemi nodded and walked where the path lights guided her. Around her, students of all kinds were arriving, tall insectoid species, glowing light beings, fur-covered students from cold planets and more. And there were humans too. They looked so ordinary. 2 arms, 2 legs, skin in shades from light to dark, no glowing eyes, no wings, no scales. Zemi blinked. They really are just plain. In the hall, she received her schedule, room number, and group assignment. Her eyes widened when she read the small note at the bottom. "Group partner, Ravi, human, Earth. HM," she murmured. That could be useful. Later that day, Zemi arrived at her shared room. It was simple: 2 beds, a table, 2 chairs, and a small study screen. A human boy sat on one bed, unpacking. He looked up when she entered. "Hi," he said, standing. "I'm Ravi. You must be Zemi, right?" Zemi nodded slowly. Ravi was shorter than she expected, with dark hair and a kind smile. He wore a plain gray shirt and black pants. Nothing strange. Nothing dangerous. "Yes, I'm Zemi, from Kalaris." "Cool. That's a water planet, right?" "Yes. You've heard of it?" "Only a bit. We don't get many Kalarans here." Ravi stepped back to give her space. "You want this bed, or that one?" "This one is fine," Zemi said, placing her bag down. Ravi went back to unpacking, humming softly to himself. Zemi watched him for a moment. There was nothing sharp or loud about him. He moved gently, calm, friendly. Still, something in her mind whispered, "Don't assume too much." Their first class the next morning was galactic biology. Zemi was excited. Biology was her best subject. When the teacher, a tall plant being named Instructor Run, introduced the project, Zemi's fins twitched with interest. "You will work in pairs to compare the anatomy of your species," Instructor Run said. "Choose key systems, muscles, bones, organs, and prepare a shared report. You will also present your findings next week." Zemi looked at Ravi. He smiled again. "Sounds fun." Zemi wasn't sure about fun, but she liked the challenge. They started in the lab. Clear screens showed 3D models of many species. Zemi pulled up the model of a Kalaran, showing the extra breathe-in gills, webbed fingers, and flexible spine. "We have high lung capacity," she explained. "And our bones bend a little so they don't break under pressure." "Nice," Ravi said. He tapped on the human model. "I guess I'll show you this." As the model rotated, Zemi leaned closer. At first, she saw what she expected: Soft muscles, fragile skin, no claws or armor. But then Ravi began pointing out details. Humans can survive in high altitudes with training, he said. We can also heal our liver, even after big damage. And our muscles change shape depending on how we use them. Zemi blinked. Wait, your liver grows back? Yeah, pretty cool, right? She leaned in closer. That wasn't something she had learned in her textbooks. Calorans couldn't do that. Few species could, and we can sweat to cool down, Ravi added. That helps in hot places. Zemi raised her head. That's unusual. Most species require outside cooling. Ravi shrugged. I guess we just adapt. Zemi felt a small twinge of curiosity. For the first time, she looked at Ravi not as just another student, but as a subject of study. Maybe humans weren't boring. Maybe they were something else entirely. As the class ended, she stared at the human model on the screen, her mind racing. This assignment might be more interesting than I thought, she whispered. The next day, the lab room buzzed with quiet voices and clicking screens. Students from many planets sat in pairs, comparing biology notes and planning their reports. Some floated, some stood on many legs, some shifted colors as they thought. But Zemi sat still, eyes fixed on the screen in front of her. She couldn't stop thinking about what Ravi said yesterday. Our liver grows back. We adapt. These weren't things she learned in her academy back on Colaris. In fact, most of what she knew about humans was too simple. Her teachers never gave details. Her people thought humans were small, weak, and forgettable. But now, she wasn't so sure. Ravi came back with 2 nutrition packs, one for each of them. He placed one on the desk beside her. Peach flavor, he said. That's the safest one here. Tastes like fruit. Zemi nodded politely. Thank you. Ravi unwrapped his and took a bite. So you want to compare bone structures today? Or start with muscles? Zemi looked at him seriously. Let's start with the nervous system. Ravi paused. Sure, that's pretty advanced. I know, she said, opening the human model on the lab screen again. Yesterday, you mentioned that humans can train their reflexes and adjust brain functions. That's not common in most species. How is that possible? Ravi scratched his head. I think it's because our brain is plastic. Zemi blinked. Plastic? Not like the material, Ravi laughed. I mean it. Can change. The connections inside neurons, they can grow or break depending on what we do or learn. Zemi leaned forward. Your brain changes shape when you learn? Well, not the shape exactly, but the way the neurons talk to each other. Yeah. Zemi stared at the model, zooming in on the human brain. This is not in our school records. She said quietly. Just then, Instructor Run floated by, checking on students. How are we doing here? The plant being asked. Zemi raised her hand. Instructor, may I ask something? Of course. Why is human biology so poorly described in our interplanetary textbooks? Instructor Run tilted slightly. That is a common question. To be honest, most human biology was ignored for years because their technology was slow to grow. Many believed they were not important enough to study in detail. Zemi frowned. But the details I'm learning now are unusual. Their body systems are complex and highly adaptable. Instructor Run smiled. That's true. But few students look closely. You might be one of the first from Colaris to study humans seriously. Zemi glanced at Ravi, who was quietly finishing his snack. He didn't seem to think of his body as special. But the more she learned, the more she felt something important was hiding beneath that calm smile. After class, Zemi went to the Academy's digital library. She typed in a request, search, human biology advanced. Thousands of results appeared, but most were short or vague. A few came from Earth itself deeper, science files, but they were written in older languages and required a special passcode. Zemi sent a message to her instructor. requesting access to deeper human biology data for research. Project topic: adaptation and recovery mechanisms. She hoped the request would be approved quickly. The next morning, something unexpected happened in class. Another group was giving their short presentation early as a sample. It was a student from Threxon Prime and his partner from a desert moon. They compared their body types, both built for harsh worlds, and compared to us, the Threxon student. Sighed, humans are soft, weak, and need too much food and sleep to survive. They only live a short time and have little natural defense. Several students laughed. Zemi didn't. Ravi chuckled too, but quietly. Do you agree? Zemi asked him. With them? Ravi shrugged. Not really. I mean, sure, we're not. Made of armor or crystal, but we've done okay. Zemi stood up. Instructor Run, may I speak? The class turned. Go ahead, Zemi. The instructor said. Zemi stepped forward. I think the other students are missing something, she said. Humans are not weak. They are different. They adapt faster than any species I've studied. Few students whispered. Their bodies can change with training. They can survive high and low temperatures, learn to breathe in thin air, and heal from serious injuries. They can even train their brains to grow faster. We call that weakness. The class was silent. Zemi turned to the Threxon student. You have armor, but humans can build what they need. They don't wait for nature. They make their own tools, even their own rules. And that is a kind of strength we shouldn't laugh at. Ravi's eyes widened a little. Then he smiled. Instructor Rune nodded. Thank you, Zemi. A fair and thoughtful point. After class, as they walked back to their room, Ravi looked at her. You really believe all that? Zemi looked ahead. I believe I was wrong before. I came here thinking humans were simple. Now I see you are. Hidden, complex in ways we didn't care to notice. Ravi gave a small laugh. Well, thanks for noticing. That night, Zemi checked her inbox. A new message had arrived. Access granted to restricted human biology files. Use wisely. Zemi's heart beat faster. Something was waiting in those files, and she was ready to find it. Zemi sat alone in the study room that night. The light above her desk glowed softly, and the walls were quiet. Most students were already resting or relaxing in the common halls. But Zemi's mind refused to slow down. She stared at the screen. In front of her, lines of text, diagrams, and old files filled the display. These were the restricted documents, real human medical studies from Earth, translated into the common galactic language. Some were old, hundreds of years old. Others were more recent. The more she read, the more confused and amazed she became. Human skin can grow back after injury, leaving only minor marks over time. Muscle fibers rebuild stronger after damage. From stress. Extreme cold tolerance achieved through adaptation over generations. Human children born early can survive with care, developing normally later. Zemi leaned back in her seat. These weren't signs of weakness. These were signs of survival, strong, quiet survival. Not through natural weapons or thick skin, but through adjustment. She opened another file. This one showed how humans dealt with sickness. Immune system highly flexible. Responds to millions of types of invaders. Can remember past infections. Zemi blinked. How can that be? Most species had immune systems, of course, but they usually responded to only a few threats. Calorans, for example, could handle waterborne illnesses, but were weak against dry air bacteria. Zemi herself had taken many shots before coming to Earth Academy. But humans? Their bodies seemed to learn from sickness. Remember it. Fight better next time. She began writing notes in her datapad, recording everything she found. She created sections: muscle, bones, skin, immune system, nerves, regeneration, adaptation, memory, growth rate. Each section filled quickly. The more she learned, the more questions she had. The next morning, Ravi found her already in the lab room. Before class. "You're here early," he said, yawning. "Did you even sleep?" Zemi didn't look up. "A few hours." Ravi sat beside her. "Still reading those files?" "Yes," Zemi replied. "Your species is strange. Thanks." "No, I mean it. Your biology is not just strong, it's unusual. It changes, it learns. Most species grow to a limit and stop. But humans, your bodies break that pattern." Ravi tilted his head. "You mean like we can keep improving?" Zemi nodded. "Yes, you call it training, but it's not just habit. Your cells change shape. Your bones respond to pressure. Your mind builds new paths to store memory." Ravi laughed. "A little. I guess that's just normal for us." "But it's not normal," Zemi said firmly. "Not for the rest of the galaxy." Ravi looked at the screen where she had collected her notes. Charts compared human organs to other species. Tiny graphs showed growth speeds, healing times, and stress limits. His eyes widened. "Whoa, you've been busy." Zemi looked up at him. "Your lungs adjust in thin air. Your skin thickens in sun. Your stomach can handle hundreds of food types." She paused. "Do you understand how rare that is?" Ravi scratched his head. "Honestly, not really. We just do it." Zemi stood up. "Come with me. I want to test something." She brought Ravi to the training hall. It was a wide room used for physical classes. The floor was soft and firm, and different tools lined the walls: weights, jump tools, and running tracks. "What are we doing here?" Ravi asked. Zemi opened a scanner pad. "I want to measure your natural reaction speed and recovery." Ravi gave her a look. "You want me to work out?" "Just basic movement. I need numbers." Ravi shrugged. "All right. Let's see how weird I really am." First, she asked him to run a short distance, then jump, then lift a medium weight. The scanner recorded everything: heart rate, muscle pressure, speed. Then she had him rest, and scanned again. She stared at the results. "Your muscle fibers already show signs of adjustment," she said. "Just from short activity. You recover faster than any non-mechanical species I've studied." "You mean I'm healthy?" "I mean," she said slowly, "you were built to survive almost anything." Back in their shared room, Zemi stared at her growing files. She was starting to feel something unusual, a kind of excitement she'd never known before. She wanted to know more, not just for the project, not even for school credit. She wanted to understand this strange, quiet creature who smiled, shrugged, and acted like nothing was special. But Ravi was special. Not just him, but his kind. Zemi sent a private message to Instructor Run, requesting permission to continue deeper research on human anatomy. "I believe we have misunderstood this species for too long." She didn't wait for the reply. She already knew her path. She opened her data files, created a new title: Project: The Hidden Strength of the Human Body. She smiled to herself. Let the galaxy laugh at humans. She would prove the truth one cell at a time. A soft hum filled the hallway as Zemi walked toward the restricted section of the Academy Library. Her heart beat a little faster with every step. She had received a special access code from Instructor Run after showing her growing research on human biology. Not many students were allowed here. The knowledge inside this section was old, some of it forgotten. Some of it never shared. As the door slid open, she stepped into a quiet room filled with tall screens and glowing data walls. It smelled slightly of metal and something ancient, like history waiting to be read. Zemi approached one of the screens and entered the access code. "Access granted. Welcome, Zemi of Calaris." She typed, "Search, Human Evolution and Project." Ares. The screen paused for a moment before showing a list of files. Some were just names with missing data, but others were still readable. One file caught her eye: Project ARES, Human Adaptive Genome, year 4127 Galactic Time. Zemi opened it. The file was a report written by a scientist from the Galactic Council. Long before Earth became part of the interstellar network, it explained that a small research team had been sent to Earth to study humans up close. They wanted to understand why Earth's population kept growing despite disasters, sickness, and poor technology at the time. The report told a strange story. At first, the team thought humans were lucky. But after several months, they started to notice something unusual. Humans changed too quickly. Their bodies adjusted not just over generations, but in single lifetimes. One team member wrote, "Their bodies learn, their cells respond. They should not be this strong, this soon." Then, without warning, the file ended. Zemi frowned. She scrolled down. One final note had been added years later by a council archivist. Team status: unknown. No final report received. Contact lost. Earth placed under quiet watch. Recommendation: do not provoke. Monitor from distance. Zemi sat still, reading that line over and over. Do not provoke. Why would the council fear a species that looked so average? She leaned back in her chair. The screen glowed softly in the dark room, reflecting in her wide eyes. Zemi whispered to herself, "What are humans really hiding?" Later that evening, Ravi noticed something different about Zemi. She wasn't just focused, she looked worried. They sat on the floor of their room, papers and notes spread around them. Zemi's voice was quiet but serious. "I found a report in the library. Very old. A team studied humans a long time ago." "Okay," Ravi said slowly. "They never came back." Ravi blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she said, "they vanished. Disappeared without a word, after watching humans." The council stopped all close study after that. Ravi leaned forward. "That's kind of creepy." Zemi nodded. "Yes, and strange. Why would a full science team disappear while studying? Peaceful people?" Ravi didn't answer. He just looked at the pile of papers beside her. "There's more," Zemi said. "The report said your cells change too fast. That your body adapts at a level other species can't explain." Ravi gave a small smile. "Maybe we're just built that way." Zemi didn't smile back. "No, that's not enough. Something is different in you, in your DNA." She pulled up a scan from one of her earlier tests with Ravi. She had secretly compared his gene markers with data from other species. "There are parts of your code that don't match anything else we know," she said. "It's like your genes can unlock abilities depending on need resistance, healing, learning." Ravi scratched his head. "I never felt like I had any special powers." "That's the strange part," Zemi said. "You don't need to feel it. Your body just knows what to do." Ravi stayed quiet. Zemi leaned back, deep in thought. Maybe humans evolved differently. Maybe not by chance. What if Earth's history forced your kind to grow this way? Ravi thought for a moment. "You mean, like every disaster, every hard time made us tougher?" "Yes," Zemi replied. "And not just tougher, smarter, faster, more prepared." She stared at her own reflection in the screen. "Your body is like a living blueprint of survival." The next day, during group presentations, Zemi kept looking around the room. Students spoke about muscles, colors, or funny organs their species had. But no one spoke with the same fire she now felt. When it was her and Ravi's turn, they stood together at the front of the class. "We studied human biology," Zemi began, "and discovered something many have missed." She showed slides of muscle growth, healing scans, brain learning patterns, and old reports from the archives. "Humans don't win through strength," she said. "They win through change. Quiet change, fast change." The class fell silent. Ravi added, "We're not the strongest or fastest, but maybe we're the hardest to stop. Not because of power, but because we never stay the same." A few students nodded. Instructor Run smiled and said nothing, but his eyes showed he was impressed. That night, Zemi updated her journal. Day 5. We are close to a truth the galaxy has ignored. Humans are not simple. They are not weak. They are the future shape of life, flexible, clever, quietly strong. I must continue. She looked over at Ravi, who was quietly building something with scrap pieces of metal. What are you making? She asked. He smiled. Just something fun. Want to help? Zemi looked at him for a moment, then walked over. She still didn't understand everything about humans, but she was going to try. The wind inside the Academy's exercise dome was quiet, controlled by air machines high above the glass ceiling. Inside, students practiced with their partners lifting, jumping, running, and studying the limits of their bodies. Zemi stood near the observation wall, holding her data scanner. Her eyes stayed fixed on Ravi, who was stretching his arms before a balance test. The last few days had changed everything. Zemi no longer saw Ravi as just a study partner or a quiet boy from Earth. Now he was her most important subject. Maybe even the key to something much bigger. Are you ready? She asked. Ravi nodded. Yeah, this one's just walking in a straight line, right? It's a narrow beam. You'll have to stay balanced while walking across. I also added a mild distraction sound test. I want to see how your body reacts under mixed input. Sounds like fun, Ravi said, grinning. Zemi smiled a little too, but her fingers stayed busy on the scanner. This wasn't just for fun. She was testing something serious, something she hadn't told anyone yet. Over the last 2 days, she had added her own code to the scanner. It could now track fast micro-changes in muscle control, nerve signals, and heartbeat rhythm. She had noticed something strange in Ravi's data before, something no other species showed. Now she wanted to prove it. Ravi stepped onto the balance beam. It was only 1 foot wide and 10 meters long. A mistake wouldn't hurt him, but it would throw off the test. The moment he started walking, Zemi began recording. His steps were smooth, calm, balanced. Halfway across, she activated the sound distraction. Loud clicks, random tones, and high-pitched noises. Any normal student would stop or slow down. But Ravi didn't even blink. His walk stayed steady. His arms moved slightly, adjusting without him even thinking. His eyes stayed focused forward. When he reached the end, he turned around and grinned. Was that the test? I thought it would be harder. Zemi looked down at her scanner. Numbers moved across the screen. His body had responded faster than expected. Heart rate rose only slightly. Brain activity changed pattern, but not in fear or confusion, in focus. You passed, she said softly. But there's more. They moved to the reaction zone next. This area had glowing lights on all sides that flashed in random colors. The goal was to touch the lights as fast as possible when they appeared. Zemi set the difficulty to maximum. Try this, she said. Let's see how quickly you respond. Ravi nodded, standing in the center. The lights began flashing red, green, blue. His hands moved fast, hitting each one without delay. The room filled with soft beeps as the system counted his hits. Zemi watched the timer. After 1 minute, most students started to slow down, but Ravi got faster. After 2 minutes, the system adjusted to his speed. Zemi blinked. This isn't normal. She looked at her scanner again. His nerves weren't slowing, they were speeding up. His brain had entered a strange state where thinking and doing became one. There was no gap between reaction and action. Finally, after 3 full minutes, the lights stopped. The screen read, "New record. Human student, Ravi." Ravi stepped back, breathing lightly. That was fun. Zemi stared at him. Ravi, do you feel tired? He shrugged, a little. But not bad. She held up the scanner. Your body just did something I didn't think was possible. You were learning while reacting. Changing your speed in real time. No training, no upgrades. Just adapting. Ravi smiled. Isn't that what humans do? Zemi nodded slowly. Yes, but I thought it was just words before. Now I can see it. Later that day, in the Academy Cafe, Zemi and Ravi sat at a corner table. Students around them laughed and talked, but Zemi stayed quiet, typing notes into her data pad. She finally looked up. Ravi, do you ever wonder why your species is like this? He tilted his head. What do you mean? I mean, why can humans do things other species can't? Why do your bodies adjust so fast? Ravi thought for a moment. Maybe it's because of Earth. It's not an easy planet. The weather changes, the land breaks, animals are wild. We had to learn to keep going. Zemi listened carefully. We don't have strong skin or claws or wings, Ravi continued, so we had to get good at learning. At healing, at never giving up. Zemi tapped her datapad. It matches the data. You survive not by fighting, but by changing, Ravi smiled. We don't always win the first time, but we come back better. Zemi looked at him with new understanding. You're a living answer to the galaxy's biggest question. What question? How do you survive a universe that keeps changing? She said, the answer is, become the one who changes faster. That night, Zemi added a new section to her research file. Humans are not the strongest, not the fastest, but they carry something deeper, a living program inside their body. It listens, learns, and adjusts. I believe this is why the old research team disappeared. They didn't find danger. They found something so different that they didn't know how to explain it. She saved the file and looked over at Ravi, who was fixing a small flying toy with a few spare parts. Zemi, he said, not looking up, why do you study humans so much? She thought for a moment, then answered honestly, because the more I learn about you, she said, the more I learn about survival itself. The bright lights of the Academy Hall flickered as students gathered for an unexpected announcement. Word had spread quickly members of the Galactic Council were coming to inspect the school. The council, known for their serious faces and strict rules, rarely visited so suddenly. Zemi felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Her recent research about human biology had caught the attention of some instructors. Now it seemed it had reached the highest levels. She looked over at Ravi. He seemed calm but curious. They had grown closer over the past days, learning from each other's worlds. The council delegation arrived quietly, led by a tall figure wrapped in shimmering robes. The leader's face was stern, eyes sharp and observant. Instructor Rune welcomed them. Welcome, honored council members. We are proud to host you at Earth Academy. The leader nodded. We have heard reports of unusual studies, particularly concerning human biology. We wish to observe for ourselves. Zemi's heart raced. This was her chance. After introductions, the council scientists asked to observe the human biology project firsthand. Zemi and Ravi were invited to present their findings once again, this time in front of the important guests. The presentation room was larger than usual. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing complex models of human anatomy. Zemi began. Honored council members, our studies show that humans are uniquely adaptable. Their bodies can adjust to a wide range of environments and recover from injuries faster than most known species. She showed images of muscle fibers rebuilding, skin healing, and brain scans demonstrating rapid learning. Ravi added, humans don't rely on natural weapons or thick armor. Instead, they use their ability to change to adapt quietly and quickly. The council members listened closely but said little. Then one scientist stepped forward. He looked serious and said, we would like to perform a test. Zemi and Ravi exchanged glances. What kind of test? Zemi asked. The scientist smiled faintly. A stress test. To see how well this human reacts under sudden pressure. Without warning, a small harmless device emitted a quick, bright flash and a sudden sound near Ravi. The room grew tense. Ravi's reaction was immediate. He ducked slightly, stepped aside, and raised his hands, but in a calm, controlled way. His movements were smooth, natural, and without aggression. The council scientist watched closely, then nodded. Interesting. Zemi glanced at Ravi. He was steady, breathing evenly, not startled or angry. The lead council member cleared his throat. We see potential in this species. Not for battle, but for resilience. Their quiet strength is different from our expectations. One member whispered, perhaps they are the next step in evolution. After the test, the council invited Zemi and Ravi to a private discussion room. The mood was serious but respectful. The leader spoke first. Zemi, your curiosity has revealed truths many overlooked. Humans are not simple or weak. They carry a hidden power in their biology adaptation. Zemi nodded. Yes, sir. Their strength lies in their ability to change and survive. Ravi listened quietly. The council leader continued. Your report on the old Project Ares was troubling. We have records that the original research team disappeared. There are many theories, but no clear answers. Zemi felt a chill. I believe they underestimated humans' quiet resilience. It's not an outward power, but a deep survival skill. The leader smiled slightly. Indeed, we must observe with care. Humans may become vital to the galaxy's future. Later, Zemi and Ravi returned to their room, tired but thoughtful. Ravi said, they seem to respect humans now. Zemi smiled. Yes, but respect comes with caution. They want to understand if humans can be trusted. Ravi looked at her. Can they? Zemi thought carefully. Humans are unpredictable. Not in a dangerous way, but in their ability to change quickly. That can be unsettling. Ravi nodded slowly. Maybe humans don't fit the old ideas of strength. We're different. Yes, Zemi agreed. And that difference is what makes you strong. They sat quietly for a moment, feeling the weight of what had happened. The next day, Zemi returned to the restricted database. She found more files about Earth's history, ancient conflicts, and long-forgotten experiments. One file described how humans survived disasters that should have ended their species' diseases, wars, environmental collapse. Zemi realized that the Council's fear wasn't just about power. It was about the unknown. Humans had survived against all odds. Not by fighting harder, but by adapting better. She added to her notes. Humans represent a new kind of strength, quiet, steady, and unstoppable. The galaxy must learn to see beyond force and armor. As she closed the file, she looked forward to sharing more discoveries with Ravi. Together, they were beginning to understand the true power of humanity. Presence was still felt everywhere. Students whispered in corners, and instructors spoke quietly about what they had seen. Zemi and Ravi sat together in the library, surrounded by datapads and reports. They both knew this day was important. Suddenly, Instructor Run appeared by their table. His eyes were serious but kind. Zemi, Ravi, he said softly. The council has reviewed your findings. They want you both to attend a special meeting tomorrow. Zemi's heart beat faster. What kind of meeting? A private council session. They want to discuss the future of human studies and your role in it. Ravi smiled nervously. Sounds serious. It is, Run said. But it is also a great opportunity. That evening, Zemi couldn't sleep. She thought about everything she had learned, the hidden strength of humans, the mysterious disappearance of the old research team, and the council's quiet respect. She wondered, were humans really so different? Were they the future of life in the galaxy? The next day, Zemi and Ravi entered a large chamber filled with glowing lights and tall figures in shimmering robes. The council sat in a circle, watching them closely. The leader spoke first. You have uncovered truths many have missed. Humans are unlike other species. Your biology shows a remarkable ability to adapt and recover. This makes humans unique and valuable. Zemi nodded. Yes, sir. They survive by changing, by learning. Ravi added, we don't have strong armor or natural weapons, but our bodies heal, and our minds find solutions. A council member raised a hand. Your species' rapid adaptation is both a strength and a concern. The disappearance of the original research team suggests humans may possess unknown capabilities. Zemi met the leader's eyes. I believe the team was overwhelmed by what they discovered. Humans' resilience is not aggression but endurance. The leader considered this. Your words carry weight. We propose a new program. Humans should be studied with care and respect as a model for survival. Ravi smiled. That sounds fair. Zemi felt hope. I want to help the galaxy understand humans better. After the meeting, Zemi and Ravi walked outside into the open sky. The stars twinkled softly, distant and silent. Ravi spoke first. Do you think humans will be accepted now? Zemi looked up. I think we've taken the first step, but acceptance takes time. Ravi nodded. Maybe humans have to keep showing their true strength, not with weapons, but with heart. Zemi smiled. Exactly. And I will be here to tell their story. They paused, feeling the weight and hope of the future. Days passed, and Zemi continued her research with renewed energy. She wrote detailed reports, shared her findings with instructors, and helped organize talks about human biology. Ravi joined her, teaching others how humans trained their bodies and minds. Together, they built bridges between their worlds. One evening, as the Academy's twin moons rose, Zemi and Ravi sat on the rooftop garden. Thank you, Ravi said quietly, for believing in us. Zemi smiled. No, thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. They watched the stars, knowing their journey was just beginning.